Today's vlog contains a Pwalpar story. As the video begins, you may be asking yourself, what does Walter know about airplanes? Shown herein. Good day, viewers. Pwalpar here today. I'm sharing a little vlog with you. In today's vlog, I'm going to share a story involving some airplanes, and I'll show you some similar type aircraft here in the video. Good day, viewers. Walter here. It's been one of those lazy, crazy, hazy, how does the song go? Anyway, it's been a lazy day. I've done little or nothing. I've searched and searched for a camera mount that I bought some years ago, and I've seen it not too long ago, but I don't know where to look for it. I've checked the cars and through all my electronic and tripod stuff. You get looking for something and can't find it, and you don't know where to look. 2 weeks later, you'll find it right under your nose somewhere. I've already looked in this truck. Thought I'd take a look in the garage. Well, it is futile looking in the garage. I have no idea where to look for that stupid camera mount. I wanted to use it on my zero turn. Didn't do a vlog today. Let's think of something we can make. I need to check on the rusty glove box. I ain't heard from that fellow in a while. I've been putting it off, but I need to get out here and finish cutting the top of that crepe myrtle tree down. I'm going to prune it back short, but I don't really know when you're supposed to prune a crepe myrtle. Maybe some of my viewers will tell me. I've already, a couple of months back, cut a bunch of limbs off of it, but I didn't top the whole thing. I might be done killed it. I don't know. It's had a lot of blooms this year, but it's getting too tall to maintain. So we're going to shorten her up. In a minute, I'll think of some place where that camera mount might be. I'm thinking it'll work real good on my zero turn lawnmower, if I can ever find it. Hear an airplane going by. There he goes. There's 2 airplanes. 3 airplanes. One's way off. I don't know if this GoPro's picking it up or not. 3 airplanes all going the same direction. Look like not very big planes, Piper Cubs or something. It must have been more than 3, because I heard one go by a few minutes ago. Maybe everybody's going to an air show somewhere. I'll tell you a little quick short story. My father was a retired, he retired from a civil service fire department and working at Patrick Air Force Base, Florida. And he would work like one day on, one day off, 24-hour shifts. One day I was out at the fire station with him, and the runway was out in front where the jets come in and land at the Air Force Base. The alarm went off, and anyway, we're watching this F-100 come in. I believe it was an F-100. He came in, touched down on the runway, and went by. Oh, he's closer to me than that mailbox down there. He went by hauling. Well, he's almost to the end of the runway, and he still ain't slowed down. That was because his parachute didn't come out. Parachute has to come out the back of the darn plane, slow him down a little bit. He went off the end of the runway, went across a tennis court, and got hung up on the tennis court net, and it nosed down. It didn't catch on fire or nothing. It just nosed down right there over the top of the tennis court net. And he jumped out of that jet and run like crazy to get away from it. The fire trucks responded from where I was standing and went on down there to check on him. But if you ever seen an F-100 land and crack up, it's kind of exciting. The old boy walked away without no damage at all. Not to himself. I'm sure the plane had some damage. Then one day we were out there at the fire station, and I watched a U-2 take off. That was back when U-2s were hot commodities, spy planes. A U-2 is a big, black, shiny, long, skinny wing thing. And I watched him take off. He must have went no farther than about 50 yards and took off straight up almost like a rocket. It wasn't quite straight up. He was at about a 45 or 50 degree angle going up fast. I didn't know a plane could go that fast straight up. Most planes take off just kind of gradually increasing in height, but he went up like a rocket. And one time we were at an air show, watched a big old seaplane, you know, them planes that'll land on the water. They did a demonstration taking off with rockets. He shot off across the runway and got about 50 or 100 yards and fired off some rockets, and that seaplane went almost straight up. Them rockets are burning like crazy, but that plane was getting off the ground. I guess it would come in handy if you need to take off from a short runway somewhere. They got a lot of neat planes in the market nowadays. I'm not much of a plane fan. Some people get out and video train, airplane. Some people get out and video planes. Plane spotting or whatever. It's a big thing over in England, places like that, where they'll register the number of the planes they saw, see how many they can see. Same thing as a rail fanning, only you're watching airplanes come in and land at the various airports. I'm not fond of flying. When I was in the military, I flew several times on military standby to get from one base to another one. I flew on a T-something. It's a small jet that they fly congressmen around and stuff like that. It's not a very big jet. It'll hold 4 or 5 passengers, a pilot and a co-pilot. Anyway, this is a military hop, and this captain got on and got behind the wheel, said, "We're going to go." He was flying standby too. Since he's a pilot, he was going to drive the plane, and I'm going to sit back there in the back seat like King Tut or somebody, and with his own private jet. Well, it didn't take him long to get us off the ground, and the door between me and him was open. I could see him sitting up there driving the plane. He said, "When I get airborne, boy, you can come up here and sit with me." So we hadn't been airborne maybe 5 minutes or so. I said, well, I'll get up and go sit up there in the co-pilot seat. And I did. I got into the co-pilot seat, looked at all the console, looked out through the windshield, looked out the side window, and I see land down there. It looks like a town. And I said, is that Patrick Air Force Base? Because that's where we had took off from. He said, hell no, boy, that's Jacksonville, Florida. In other words, we had already gone 150 miles by the time I got up in that 5-minute period and went to look out the window. We landed at Andrews Air Force Base in Washington in less than 1 hour, and that's from Central Florida. I'm telling you, he took us down the road. He wasn't dragging his feet. Well, I was almost late for to be declared AWOL. I had to be in Norfolk, Virginia's base, on the base in Norfolk by midnight. Here it is like 7 or 8 o'clock at night. We were landing at Andrews Air Force Base in Washington. And he stopped the jet out there on the runway. They had one of them old World War II cargo, well, not, yeah, I guess you would call them a cargo plane. Old 2 propellers. They used them to haul food and supplies in the Berlin drop. I'm sure people know about the time when they had to take food to West Berlin to keep them people alive over there behind the Iron Curtain. Anyway, I can't think of the name of that plane. But they were sitting on the runway, and he had called ahead and said, I got this sailor with me, needs a ride. Y'all going to Norfolk? He said, okay, we're waiting for him. So he taxied right up beside this big old cargo plane. I jumped out of the jet, went over to the cargo plane. They lowered a little ladder for me, and I climbed up in there with a bunch of Army guys that were going somewhere. There must have been 50 of us on that plane. And the plane is so ancient, they hold their foot on the brake, rev the engines up real high. They got them going wide open, and he's holding his foot on the brake until he's got all the power he can out of them engines. Takes his foot off the brake, and the plane slowly starts going. Then in a little bit, we're airborne. We're flying just above the trees. I mean, you could see pine trees out there. I don't think it was 8 o'clock at night. It was still daylight. It was late in the evening, though. I remember that. You see the treetops. We wasn't a couple 100 feet in the air. And it took us, remember, I went from Central Florida to Andrews Air Force Base in less than 1 hour. And it took us like probably 2.5 hours to fly from Andrews Air Force Base to Norfolk, Virginia. That's how much slower those planes go than that jet did. Not near as far, twice as long. Anyway, the military, the Air Force took care of old Pwalpar that day. I didn't even realize I was going to be AWOL. I told my father, I think I'm going to be AWOL. I got to be at Norfolk by midnight. We'll take care of you. He took me down to the Air Force Base and got me that ride on that jet. So the Air Force took care of old Pwalpar that day. And I made it to the base on time. Anyway, it's not much of an exciting vlog today, just a little bit of story to share with you. Appreciate you tuning in, and I'm going to work on uploading this video probably sometime today or in the morning. I hope everybody has a great weekend. This is Pwalpar wishing everyone well. And Rusty Glovebox, where you at, fella? I'm coming to check on you. I hadn't heard from you in a while. Where you at, Lloyd?